if you didn't have a chance to share yours orally, please write it down, your comment on your worksheet, and leave it behind. All right, so the third lens, as you know, is around proximity to schools. So again, Adam's going to give a short presentation. You've got it in your books, and then we're going to move to a discussion just like the first two.
Thank you once again. So now we're on to our third critical lens that we're looking at, which is proximity to school. In terms of our work, it's important to understand proximity and what it means to families and students. We want to understand issues of nearest homeschool assignments. And in terms of why it's important, reducing the distance and time traveled lessens the burdens on families and can also conserve district resources, also has an impact on the environment and safety issues. So there will be many ways in which proximity can be understood. And in our initial work that you'll see here today, what we've done is we've looked at the percentage of students not assigned to their nearest school. And in this case, we've measured along road networks based on approximate distances. It is not related to time. It's related to road network distance. There are other things I would add that we've removed from this data set. Students going to magnet schools or certain kinds of choice schools, so we're only looking at students at their base schools. And so here, once again, we've taken a sample cluster. This is not a cluster that we're paying a particular focused attention on. We're looking comprehensively across the district. And you get a sense immediately that there is a real range of how many students are not closest to their nearest schools. So that darkest color, that darkest blue-green, more than 75% of students are not closest to their nearest school. And that is based on road distances. Obviously, we're not looking at time, and there are some things like highways that are in the way, so this is not perfect calculus, but it is an accessible snapshot. So you have this range in Walter Johnson of students, and again, we're looking in this case at middle schools. We have students in one case at Tilden Middle School, where less than 25% are not closest to their nearest school. So in that case, you have kids who are closer to their school. And then going all the way down to schools like Silver Creek Middle School and Pyle Middle School, you have 75% or so of kids who are not at their closest middle school. And that cluster average is 36%, and that range is 2% to 70%, and I guess that's based on the cluster itself. And so here you have a snapshot across the district, looking at elementary schools, where you have an incredible disparity, where it's from 0% to 94%, and an average of 37% who do not attend their nearest elementary school. Looking at middle schools, that number goes up slightly. 45% do not attend their closest schools. And once again, we want to look at some of those adjacencies where you have the blues next to the grays. And then with high schools. And interesting, with high schools, it goes back down, where you have 38% of students who do not attend their closest schools. And so in this case, I think there's a lot of local knowledge that comes into understanding proximity to schools. And one thing that, as we begin to do our work, understanding some of the critical barriers and challenges around distance to schools that you don't just get by looking at road networks, things that relate to traffic and things that relate to highways. So we really want to get from you, what are the other things that we should be thinking about in terms of proximity to school? So again, you have the summary of all of this research, an incredible range of schools that are very, where students are very close to their middle schools and their elementary schools, and students who are not close at all to their middle schools. So for us, I'll turn it back to Steve, but what feedback can you give us here?
Great, so same drill, 9-10 minutes. What feedback do you have around proximity? And what else should we be considering as a part of this part of the analysis? What else should we be considering factoring in? All right, so 10 minutes. Again, you might want to jot down some thoughts